Okay, so 10 white wines under $10.
All right, have at it. 5 and 5, I got it.
They are all from one same single grape variety.
Okay. So we've got 5 more.
Yeah.
Right, so shall we do them?
All right.
You can be sure we'll talk about it.
Sorry, Peter. Sorry.
Jay,
Yeah?
you don't have to say sorry when we drink first growths and when we drink Pio Cesare Barolo and Prunotto Barbaresco.
So while you are tasting these wines, you are thinking about those other wines.
I'm thinking about good days which will come again.
Right.
Good times will come back. You just got to get through the tough times. You're going to pour them.
Oh yeah, of course.
The faster we pour them, the faster we're done with them. Our job is actually just to say, should you spend more money because there's just nothing here, or can you buy something drinkable for the money? And so far with the Pinot Grigios, there's drinking there.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. It's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you even said you're going to go home and drink the Giretto.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this. Like medicine.
For me, these ones were medicine.
Yeah. These were worse than the Pinot Grigio.
Yeah. I miss the Pinot Grigio group.
It's true. Oh, we didn't know how good the old days were. Bring back the good old days. Maybe we live in hope, right? Maybe this flight will be better.
Look at the colors, Peter. I don't think.
No, because, the colors are always going to be darker.
Right.
Because they add oak essence or they use some wood or...
Peter, for the next session, let's do the wines that you want to taste.
Oh, you're talking about down the road?
Yeah.
Oh, all right then.
We need to recover it from
Yeah, that's right. That's a beautiful thing to have to think about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought white wines would be better than red wines in this price range, but not necessarily.
I don't think so. These are a dreary bunch. Oh my goodness.
Peter, next time let's taste what you want to taste.
No, we'll do that. I'm looking at these wines now, and I'm saying, can this really be made from the same grape variety as Chablis and fine white Burgundy and Blanc de Blanc Champagne? Give me a break! These guys should be in jail.
Also, you think they are? These are made of.
This is really bad Chardonnay. That's what this is. Am I right?
You're totally right.
Yeah.
And they taste more or less the same.
Thank God. Because they did put a bit of Chardonnay in there. In a way, what they're saying to the consumer, what they're saying to you is, you are so unsophisticated that you really want sweet wine. And so they've learnt a trick, which is to label it dry and make it sweet. So what Jay and I want to do is to educate people out there. They should move beyond sweetness. Sweetness is soda pop. Sweetness is Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. It's good for those things. But sweetness on wine is wrong. The idea with these sweet wines is A, to beguile you, and B, to cover up the faults. We need to wean ourselves off sweet wine unless the wine was intended to be sweet. Not in this way, unless the wine is botrytized wine or Moscato or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I cannot agree with one of your comments, meaning I don't think they covered up their fault.
I don't know who taught him about wine. He's right. Jay and I, we like to refer to ourselves as professionals, and we are professionals, meaning we're in this business full time, and it's how we earn our daily bread. And it is true that we can taste through the sugar right down to those faults. And then it's like daggers in the heart.
We've only tasted 6 of them. We still have 4 more. Oh, this is a life-threatening tasting.
Another of the problems with these wines is that when you're drinking wines that are so oaky at this level, it's not real wood.
No.
So it doesn't taste like real wood either.
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if actually the taste of the wine is getting worse one by one, or
We're just getting tired of it because of that belief that people drinking Chardonnay want oak. The only thing that was worse from an oak perspective than this is the bourbon barrel wines. I mean, this is oak, okay? If the Burgundians had to look at this, are you kidding me?
oh, if you missed that bourbon barrel aged wines, please
Please look for that. That
Yeah.
was a beaut.
click on the link and watch it.
I'm going to tell you one thing. You're serving them at the perfect temperature. Thank God for small mercies.
Otherwise,
Everything else plus bad temperature, let me know when you're ready. I would like to put this behind me. It was a dreary bunch of wines, let's face it. Huh?
yeah.
So, very much Chardonnay.
How did you get to know?
That it was Chardonnay.
Yeah.
You know, there's a belief, particularly from California winemakers, that people who drink Chardonnay expect to drink oak. So they are so over-oaked in almost every way. Now, it's not real oak, because you can't afford real oak, and you can't afford the time that it takes to gently assume oak character. Then it's also astringent, so then they got to cover it up with sugar. So you get this oak, sugar, and nothing else, you know. So how do you know it's Chardonnay? Every now and again there's this faintest hint of Chardonnay, but in any event, Chardonnay is a pretty bland grape. When you taste wines like this at this price level, what you're looking for is a very cynical winemaker's idea of what people who want to drink low-price Chardonnay think that Chardonnay should taste like. I'm sorry, that's such a mouthful. But, you know, that's where it is. And these wines are a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't know if you agree.
I really agree.
These 10 wines are a disaster. I thought that the Pinot Grigios were a pretty dreary bunch. I mean, this is way worse.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. You see, with Pinot Grigio, it's not considered to be super special. So they feel like people just need some kind of drinkable wine, and we don't have to do anything. You know, Chardonnay's got to be special, right? But at the same price. So then they come up with these monstrosities.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through each one by one?
You said one wine among these 10 wines
Right.
was a little bit different.
Hold on. I don't want to retaste them.
Why don't you want to
No, I'm
retest?
just not doing that. And my favorite wine, least worst wine of the tasting was number 9.
I agree. For me too. That was the least oaky one.
That was the least worst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
least worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Okay, so Chardonnay number 1.
Very oaky. A little bit of Chardonnay character. Quite astringent, short. I've called it Californian. And I thought this is probably the worst one of the tasting. Until I tasted all the rest. And it turned out to be one of the best. In fact, this is my second best wine. Yeah, this is my second best wine. So California Chardonnay, the whole catastrophe. All this oak, the sweetness. But the sweetness wasn't as bad as some of them.
Okay, so
Oaky.
oaky.
You said okay. Not okay, oaky.
Okay, but not okay.
Okay, that's exactly right.
For me too, Chardonnay number 1 was better than most of these.
Yeah.
Except for wine number 9.
Yeah, I agree. Very much agree.
So Chardonnay number 1.
Winking Owl. That's the cheapest one, right?
This one is $1.99.
Wow.
I bought this at Aldi.
At Aldi, okay.
Winking Owl. It's not Winking Owl. This is Californian Chardonnay, $1.99. It says it's semi-dry.
Oh, they actually have the decency to say semi-dry?
Yeah, and medium-bodied.
It's a dead body. I think this is going to turn out to be our best value for money.
Yeah, $1.99 and one of the least worst wine. Okay, so Chardonnay number 2.
This was right in the middle, meaning really piss poor, excuse my language. Very tropical, not much oak, sweet, nothing else, alcohol, and astringent. Really, one has to ask oneself the question, when you get up in the morning, should I taste that wine or should I go back to bed?
Barefoot Chardonnay, $8.
They didn't over-oak it as badly as some, but there was nothing there in the fruit.
No.
Wine should be made as cheap as possible, but not cheaper. And these are cheaper than possible. Except perhaps for WINEKING.
Yeah.
Ah.
So you're ready to pay more than $8 for This one shouldn't be cheap.
On the basis of this one, I'm ready to pay $10 for that one.
So, Chardonnay number 3.
In a lineup of really, really bad wine, this is one of my 3 worst wines.
I see.
Quiet, a little bit less sweet. Venus,
Sounds good.
yeah, it does. But then it had sweetness and it was aggressive. Immediately aggressive sweetness and then astringent. And nothing in the middle. Very poor wine.
Yeah, very poor wine. I also said extremely buttery and bitter.
You got buttery.
Yeah.
I wrote you malolactic.
Yeah. And then bitter.
And then bitter.
Yeah. What is this bad wine? Beringer.
Beringer.
Chardonnay.
I remember the red one.
We hated it.
Okay, well then, at least they're consistent.
Beringer, California Chardonnay, and vintage 1876. The winery was established in
Exactly.
1876. It tastes like wines from 1876. It's under $10.
That I believe.
At any price, it's a bad wine, no?
That is a bad one at any price.
Yeah. $7. Wow, it's expensive.
All right, we're moving right along, Jay.
Yeah, Chardonnay number 4.
Very oily oak, astringent. What do you think?
Bad. Just bad. Cupcake.
Cupcake.
Butter kissed Chardonnay.
No shit.
2019, California, $9. It says creamy, buttery, vanilla.
That's true. There are people that love that. There are people that think it's worth double that. Maybe we should pop some bubbles after this.
I still feel that butteriness in my
I still
palate.
feel the wood.
Yeah.
That's oak. Although I'm not retasting them.
And number 5.
This was, I think, the outstanding wine of the lineup because it was flat out the fucking worst. This was terrible. In a lineup of terrible wines, this one took the cake. This was absolutely the poorest wine of the tasting.
Clos du Bois, Chardonnay, California, 2018. Hand-selected lots.
Oh, I'm sure. They selected the lots as they were being thrown into the trash. They went into the trash and they took them out by hand.
This one was $8 in LD, but in some other stores,
Much more.
yeah, like $14, $15.
What a bargain. My flat out worst wine of the tasting. So the others have been least worst. That's worst.
Alright. So Chardonnay number 6.
There's nothing there. What do you think?
I felt lots of rancid popcorn and rancid butter.
So malolactic again. Yeah. When you overdo the malolactic, and it happens very easily on poor quality fruit, you get this rancid popcorn, rancid butter. Yeah.
Yellowtail never disappoints us. They are so consistent. So Chardonnay number 7.
Astringent again, very woody, astringent, and then bitter on top of it.
Verraco Ridge, $9. The more expensive they become, the worse they become. Even in this price range.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So this $1.99.
So far, so good. Number 8, sweet and sickly on the entry palate, but better than most of them so far. What do you think?
This was slightly better than the others, except for the wine number 1. So up to this wine number 7, starting from wine number 2, I wrote butter, rancid popcorn, rancid butter, and then terrible butter, and then burnt bread.
What can I say, Jay? These wines are an assault on the palate, whereas the Pinot Grigios were not.
We were in the heaven.
We just didn't know it.
Slightly better, it's CK Mondavi,
CK Mondavi,
$8.
$8.
This is our first time to evaluate some cheap Mondavi wines better than some of the others.
Yeah, that's true. It's still not a great category.
So Chardonnay number 9.
This was my least worst. Still very, very oaky, but there seemed to be more push in the middle. Maybe a slightly greater concentration on the berries.
For me, this was my favorite one.
There you go.
I felt even slightly minerally.
It was the best wine of the tasting.
So the list was the Chardonnay.
Gallo family.
Oh, Gallo family Chardonnay. It's $6. This one as well with further discount. It was much cheaper than $6. Like $3.99.
That's good. That was my best wine.
All right. So the last Chardonnay.
Oh my goodness, my second worst wine.
What was your worst wine?
The worst wine was a 13 minus.
Clos du Bois.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Okay, what do we have here?
Meridian Vineyards, breezy and fresh.
There you go. I was wondering what that great taste was. It's the breeze, like a stale fart.
It's $9.
$9.
I told you, the more expensive they get, the worse they become.
Talking about something, we have to reward ourselves for this, right? So,
yeah.
would you like red or white as a reward?
As a reward.
Yeah, red or white. Afterwards, when we're done.
Probably red.
Red.
Yeah, to cleanse our palate a little bit.
Obliterate.
Yeah.
Let me go and tell Valerie to open a really, really, really good red.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
이럴 땐 이 와인 네이버 밴드로 놀러 오시면 와인을 잘 몰라도 편하고 싸게 사실 수 있도록 제가 많이 도와드립니다. 다들 만족하시고 좋아하시더라고요.